Hey everybody, Vivian here to share with all my friends in the ether. I have a video tutorial today. This is January 17th, 2013. I have a couple of projects that are showcasing on the Hampton Art blog today, and this is a card that I whipped up rather quickly using brand new stamps that were showcased at CHA Winter that just finished. These are a collaboration between Hampton Art and Seven Gypsies. You have some beautiful insect stamps, and y'all know how I love nature. So I'm crazy about that ant. And a lot of the sentiments that came out with that collaboration are really fun too. Some of my teammates made some really fun projects. I'm sure they'll share with you through the course of this month. I just want to share with you some of the techniques I used to make this card. I didn't take any progress shots because I was in such a rush to get these done for CHA that I'm just going to make a whole new project for you. So I've been playing around with the more vibrant colors of distress inks that I own. This is Wild Honey, and I'm just using a blending tool and sort of randomly selecting areas to get that color onto my tag. This is a very sturdy piece of white cardstock, and I'm going for a rather distressed look. First step is just to apply the color. So that was Wild Honey, and now I'm going to add some spiced marmalade. It's a little bit darker than my Wild Honey, and I want the edges to be a darker shade than the interior of the tag. And regarding the blending, everybody has different ways of doing it. I think and I've heard this around from various crafters in the ether, that if you start off the edge and then move your way onto your project, it's much better. There's less likelihood that you'll have like the brush marks from the foam pad that you're using. This is a light blue shade tumbled glass. I wanted to keep this project light. I actually have made a couple projects before sharing this video with you, and I think the key to what I'm going for is to, and I do this in my other projects as well, start light and then go dark. And because this is going to be sky, I decided actually to keep things rather light. Even if you get little marks from your foam brush that you dislike, I really wouldn't worry about it with the techniques that we're going to be using today, because I'm really going for a very distressed look. We're going to be adding a lot of texture, and watch what happens when you spray water. So I sprayed water, and in the areas where I sprayed water, it's going to become much more light. I'm also adding some kosher salt. I've been playing around a lot with my salt. It works great with pure watercolor, and I kind of just wanted to see what would happen if I sprinkled it on top of the areas that had pools of water from my spritz. So you're going to want to wait for that to dry. You can dry it with a heat tool, but sometimes that will warp your paper, but if you're in a rush, you can just sort of bend it right back into shape. I'm going to drink my coffee and wait for it to dry. So here it is dry, and you see the areas where water touched the surface are much lighter, and I just think it's so beautiful. That spray is in such a natural formation. You can't really replicate that by doing something by hand. It looks very accidental, and I love that. And it turns out with this particular project, I had another one where the marks where the salt had been were more prominent, using the exact same materials but just different colors. So you just have to experiment. What was interesting about what happened this time was that the areas where there was a lot of salt ended up rising. They're a little bit higher than the rest of the tag. So if you add more distress ink, it'll sort of catch the pigment in a really cool way that's definitely in this world of grunge. This is a Hampton Art Woodblock stamp. It's PS0673. I've been looking around. I saw that it is available at addictedtorubberstamps.com. I've been using it on everything. So I'm sure people who follow me are like, oh gosh, she's using that one again. But I just really love the effect. It's just wonderfully distressed. So I stamped that using some Watermark ink from Clearsnap and some clear embossing powder from Hampton Art. I think you can see the cylindrical container below. That I think I've seen at the major craft stores like Michael's or Joann's. So you can pick those up there. And I'm just wiping the areas, the straight edges, because I don't tend to go for straight edges on these more natural types of projects. So I just wiped those off before setting the heat tool on it. And by doing this, we're creating a little bit of a resist in a really cool polka dot pattern. So here you can see it's all done. And now here's the fun part. We're going to really bring those polka dot patterns out by adding more distress ink. So I'm rubbing in some of the spiced marmalade, and the more I rub, the more it reveals those polka dots. I think it sort of like polishes the areas that were embossed. And the color underneath those little dots is retained because it's a resist. I'm also going to add some more distress ink in tumbled glass. So I did that off screen, and you can sort of see underneath. This is another Hampton Art set. It's called Butterflies IC0195. And you can check your online vendors, but I've also seen a ton of Hampton Art stamps available at the major crafting stores like Michael's. So, you know, take a trip on over there and see what you can find. I've got some color box white pigment ink in frost white, and I'm just going to lighten things up a little bit with a little bit of atmospheric stamping. So it's not going to be really obvious, but I think upon closer inspection it'll be a really cool touch. I'll just stamp that in random places on my card, on my tag. And as you probably know, the pigment inks stay wet longer. So you want to be careful that you don't drag your fingers over your stamping right after you do it, because it's going to stay wet. It's so wet that you could heat emboss with it if you wanted to, instead of with the Watermark ink. So I've got this beautiful, I'm using all of these beautiful stamp sets from Hampton Art on this project. As you know, I love butterflies, so I'm really happy that I have that one. I actually ordered this one. This is Hampton Art IC0165. This is also available at addictedtorubberstamps.com. It's designed by Donnell Johnson, so it's a collaboration between Art Warehouse and Hampton Art. So you have a close-up here, just showing you how that looks. Very atmospheric, ethereal. And I'm going to use this Memento ink in Teal Zeal, which catches some of those greens and blues that we've got going on in the tag, with the largest hot air balloon in this set. These are beautiful hot air balloons. I love all the detail. Okay, it's not what I would consider a graphic stamp. It's got those lines, but it's got such an aged feel to it. And I don't feel like I need to do any coloring on it. And, you know, I'm not, who knows, things could change as, you know, my craft evolves. But currently I'm not that into coloring. I like to just stamp and have it be. These stamps are just beautiful. So I actually ordered these from Hampton Art. And I'm so happy I did. So I just saw that they're available at addictedtorubberstamps.com. So in the foreground, I stamped the largest one to give the illusion that that one's closer. And as I go up higher, and the distance between the viewer and the hot air balloon becomes greater, I chose the smaller hot air balloons that come in that set, which is, let me repeat, IC0165. So that's a Hampton Art Warehouse cling stamp set. So this is the last one I'm going to stamp. It's got these pretty little bows of fabric and designs going around the hot air balloon. Very vintage type of feel to it. And I think if you are working on a more clean type of project, those details would show up a lot more clearly. But I'm really happy that they look exactly the way they do here. Okay, so let me zoom in so you can see everything that has been done so far. In the top corner and various places you see some raised edges. That was from the salt. All that detail in the stamp, I just love it when in just a second, in just the moment of stamping, you get an incredibly detailed image. So in that sense, it's really a lot of bang for your buck. I added some seam binding that had come in a really tiny roll, so it's very curly. I decided to just leave it that way because it's really cute. And that's just from my stash. I got it on sale. And this is another Hampton Art Warehouse clear stamp set. And this is SC0038 Blooming Memories. If you've been following me on Hampton Art, you've seen me use this stamp set before. The stamp set has a beautiful Asian-inspired large bloom stamp in it that I've used quite a bit. But I really love this sentiment. I reach for it quite a bit. It's a great reminder to me to savor the beauty of our everyday lives and live in the moment and not live too much in the past or in the future. I've got some stills to show you of this project. Here's the full shot in morning light. We've got our tree, a Christmas tree, where I usually take my pictures, so I apologize if the quality isn't so great. But I really like that it was important, actually, I think, to retain some really light areas for some contrast and to create that feeling of glow. Here you can see the subtle butterfly stamps that were stamped in white pigment ink. And if you haven't gotten enough inspiration, please visit me at my blog. It's contadinak.wordpress.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There are plenty more to come on my channel, and I wish you a happy new year. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.